a little bit about something that's been really kind of bothering me. There are people out there within our community who insist that what we've been seeing isn't part of the retcon. I want to show you some. This is a quote by Jon Favreau. I'm going to read it. I'm going to show it to you as I read it. Okay, so he says, I don't want to talk about anything that might be fun for people to discover, Favreau says. We do have conversations. Part of what's fun to see is to see if we can merge the worlds of the original trilogy, the prequels, the sequels, the Clone Wars, and what's been considered canon up to this point, and what's considered part of Legends. I think the show offers an opportunity to bring all those elements, no matter what your flavor of Star Wars ice cream you like, there will be something for you to enjoy. But you're asking the right questions. Okay. He does bring up the sequels. But after watching what they've been doing and seeing the board, let me look. I'm going to go on Safari as I talk to you guys, if I can, if it's going to let me. New Star Wars shows. What we have, let's go into images because I want to show you guys something a little bit about this. Okay, here we go. We'll go back. Now, Favreau said, mentioned the sequels, but I mean, look at this. Got Mandalorian, we got Rangers of the New Republic, we got Ahsoka, we got Andor, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi, we got Rogue Squadron, which there's a rumor out there that George is writing it. We've got a droid story. We've got Acolyte, which will never probably happen. Lando, which I'm hoping they get a different writer. We've got Star Wars Visions and The Bad Batch. But why don't you look at Ahsoka? Now, it depends on what you think he meant by Ahsoka, doesn't it? Or what he meant by the sequels. It doesn't it? So, this is, I gotta go back on Hangouts, actually, which is what I'm gonna do. Sorry guys. It depends on what people are hard to explain. It depends on what and how you look at things. He mentioned sequels, but what part of the sequels is he talking about? Is he talking about Ahsoka? Is he talking about what is he talking about? I don't get that it's cut and dry that they will never be retconned. Hey, Chris. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. He's talking about mixing all these things up. And when you do that, you kind of, kind of don't have what you're talking, you don't have that anymore. Like, let me read this for a second. So this is from one of Maze's friends. How dare at The Mandalorian make us love Star Wars again. Season 2 closer hit on a high point we haven't seen in decades. Watch it, no milking there, just badassery. Okay, yeah, that's right. Again, Jon Favreau's quote, we had this happen. It is a sequel. I mean, The Mandalorian is a sequel to Return of the Jedi. It's a sequel to the OT. So what sequels is he talking about? And what is he talking about? I don't get it. So that Star Wars girl, Anna, said it's obviously going to be retconned. And then they bring up, and of course, the usual suspects: Stig, Ryan Cannell, OG, and the rest of them bring up that quote from John Favreau. Again, that's circumstantial evidence, which isn't really admissible in court. It's very hard to convict anybody of it's very hard to convict anybody of anything with circumstantial evidence. It really has to be strong. It's it depends on what John Favreau says. Looks at the sequels. If in fact they're mixing sequels, the sequel world with the OT world with the prequels, you're not going to have, in the end, what you had before, are you? Okay? These are different elements that are being explored. Before, the idea that anybody would consider talking about the sequels, talking about the clones, talking about Anakin Skywalker was anathema to Lucasfilm, because I would say everybody that worked on the movies, the Disney sequel series movies, even Resistance, hated the prequels. Okay, it's a popular thing to do when you're a moron, to hate the sequels, and a lot of people hate the sequels. So, what I don't understand, therefore, is why it's going right over their heads that you can have elements of the sequel trilogy in a new canon and not have the sequel trilogy. You could have Lor Santeca. You can have Cobb Vanth without having fucking Chuck Wendig's all over. When I watched that, and I remember reading a little bit of that book before I threw it in the dumpster or in the fire pit, I was like, this is better than anything Wendig could ever put together. The reason why is because Jon Favreau is a good writer. This last episode of Mandalorian was written by Jon Favreau. Okay. And probably George Lucas, but in my last live, I talked about Lucas before. Okay. And, I just don't get it. And I don't get the connection between, or the fact that people can't look at the connections between Obi-Wan, or the sequel era, let's put it that way. The sequel era, and not understand that they're trying to make a continuing story work. Now, again, I'm going to ask Stig, OG, Ryan Cannell, and the rest of these naysayers to jump in and explain to me if the sequel trilogy is set in stone because Jon Favreau said that, and something that the officer said to Bill Burr in the previous episode, that's proof. You guys must have got F's in reading comprehension, okay? And you don't know how to watch movies very well, and you don't understand context. Let's go back. Even in the EU, they were having a very difficult time setting up the new republic. Didn't they have a difficult time? It wasn't like, yay, yay, yay. No, it wasn't. I seem to remember lots of conflict going on. I seem to remember the Empire is still kicking ass and taking names. Does Heir to the Empire make any sense to you? Does it bring something to mind? No, the New Republic had a hard time. It wasn't an easy time. So this Imperial officer saying it's in chaos shouldn't really shock anybody. Stop it. And it shouldn't really make people think, oh my God, they're not going to retcon it. You don't know what they're going to do. Okay? I don't know what they're going to do. But it looks to me that they're taking the sequel era, taking some of the stuff And that happened, and they're going to twist it around, refashion it, and it's going to be without all the woke bullshit. You know, I've had people just on my previous live saying, there's woke stuff in Mando. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, it's, there were women fighting. All right, so you didn't like seeing that, but you're okay with Leia fighting and Padme and Mara Jade and shut up. Just shut up. I'm so sick of both sides. I can't even anymore. It's like this. Can't anybody be happy? Can't you fucking be happy? Now, granted, the people trying and hoping beyond hope that they don't retcon it are people who make a lot of money on YouTube. They're monetized. They have a finger on the scale of misery because more miserable, more angry people are, the more hits they get, the more money they make. Okay? That's what they call clickbait. I don't like clickbait. I don't click on clickbait. In fact, when I see people posting that kind of shit, I get mad. And when I know that the only reason why they're screaming, ranting, and raving without any proof at all, hi there, without any proof at all of what they're saying, except for something some imperial officer said that doesn't have anything to do actually with anything that they're talking about. And then the quote from Jon Favreau. It's like, what? I I'll go back and show it to you guys. Okay. Let's go back. Dude, come on. Well, it's not gonna let me go back now. Wow. Okay, that kind of makes me mad. Anyway, he basically says they talk about how much fun it would be, to merge the prequels, the OT and the sequels. But I don't think he meant the sequels in the way you think. And if they do that, they're going to change the sequels. Okay, forever. Okay, you already see it with just a few instances of EU. He even mentioned the EU. Okay, despite what people think, Jon Favreau has his pulse on what the fans want. Okay, and he talked about lifting stuff from the EU, which is why you have Ahsoka saying, well, where's that Grand Admiral Thrawn? Which is why you have the Black Saber suddenly show up. Which is why you have the chain code, Boba Fett's chain code. Okay. You have a lot of different things that they use in the EU coming back. Tython, the planet of Tython, was an EU planet. Okay. So you've got them being used. The problem I think a lot of people are having is that it feels different, it looks different because it's being mixed and blended in with other elements of the story. The OT, the prequels, Clone Wars, Rebels. Okay? I would like to understand more clearly that quote about the sequels because I'd like to tell Jon Favreau, don't bring that up anymore because you're pissing people off. People hate the sequels. It's just going to be, it's going to be very interesting. But when you look at the pictures I showed you guys, the picture I showed of the shows, where is Ryan Cannell? If the sequel trilogy is there, how come there aren't any sequel characters getting their own shows? Rey doesn't have her show. Poe doesn't have one. Finn doesn't have one. Maybe they'll get one. Kyle Ron, the Daddy Butcher, doesn't have one. Admiral Holdo doesn't have one. See where I'm going? They're not mentioned at all, let alone Rian Johnson's trilogy. Okay, even though these people also probably think he still has a trilogy in their teeny tiny little minds. because they need people to be upset. And they really don't want Star Wars to be good. I'm going to go back to carrot and stick. I've talked about this before. But, this is an e-controller for my dog's collar. And shepherds are notoriously hard of hearing, and they don't want to obey you. They don't want to listen. All right? You tell them to come. Nah. Tell them to sit. Nah, I'm going to jump on you. Tell them to do all this stuff. And, I've got this on 5. You can use it progressively. Every time he ignores you, you hit 5. Go up another 5. Till he stops ignoring you. Okay? That's training by teaching the dog what not to do. Okay? Carrot and stick. When Disney does something right, like Mandalorian, when they do something shitty, like the High Republic, all right? That's the stick. Okay? That's the stick. The carrot is being happy for Mandalorian. The stick is like, I'm not fucking touching that shit for the High Republic. Again, Ryan, if they're gonna do a sequel trilogy and they're so proud of it, where is the comic book for The Rise of Skywalker? They canceled it. Where's the Dr. Aphra comics? They canceled those. They're canceling those things right and left. Now we're still stuck with the High Republic. I think that they're basically damned if they do and damned if they don't on that. But the other stuff, Marvel just said get rid of it. And Kennedy and the rest didn't have anything to say. They didn't have anything to say. But again, where are the comic books for Finn, Poe, and Rey? The problem you guys are having is you want to hear them say they're retconning it. And they're not going to. Well, Michael, that's fine. Why? Great. You just want to be sad and miserable. Okay. You must be fun at parties. What was I talking about? The problem is with all this is that Disney didn't make any money with the sequel trilogy. They didn't. They're merchandising. No one wants it. They're doing somewhat better with Mandalorian. Okay, and today was just you walk away going. Seeing Luke pull back his hood, and it was so perfect. I can't even. They did the best. That was the best deep fake I've ever seen in my life. And I knew it was going to be, I knew it was him. I told Drunk 3PO, I said, the moment I saw the X-Wing, I knew it was Luke. I knew it was him. The only person in the whole galaxy that would fly around by himself, in an X-Wing. And what was really interesting, and it's just really funny, is watching it, and they say, oh my God, there's an X-Wing. It's like, only one? Oh, wow, aren't we lucky? Well, you got the son of Skywalker just basically going full on Anakin Skywalker on these things, because that's who he reminded me of. There was, when he force crushes that dark trooper, that droid, it was like, it was Luke. It was Luke fully trained, ready to start training a whole generation of Jedi, Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. It was him. And, yeah, how dare they? And that's the thing. Maze is in the house. TC Cruiser. That's the thing, is what Jon Favreau said. Maze, I brought up that quote. Doesn't mean he's going straight to the sequel trilogy. I absolutely see nothing there that shows the sequel trilogy. What I did see when he said mixing the prequels, the OT, the Clone Wars sequels, blah blah blah, as I saw coming up with a different formula. And you can't, because here's the deal. The sequels themselves are distinctly different from all of the rest of that stuff. The rest of that stuff is Star Wars. These are not. You add that stuff into it. You add different elements to it. You change it. You change it to a point where those sequels suddenly become irrelevant, which is, I think, what they're doing. Okay? And of course, I showed the picture of the Ahsoka cardboard board thing with the World Between Worlds. This is where you're probably going to see things change. Okay? Let's put it this way. If Luke has Grogu now, then he knows. He will know what's going on. Grogu will tell him this, and this. And again, you guys are ignoring the naysayers. They have Gideon. They have all of his testing. Do they not? Now? There it is. Okay, so what's going to happen? They have the doctor, for crying out loud. New Republic will probably figure out that they're doing some weird clone experiments and probably go, okay, And if I remember right, there were no Dark Troopers in the sequel trilogy at all. Now, there were Death Troopers in Rogue One, okay, and they were human. But these Dark Troopers are basically a callback to the battle droids. Okay. But there weren't any in the sequel trilogy, and you would think that you would see something like that in the sequel trilogy, but you didn't. So there's a different element. Like I said, Cobb Vanth in the first episode of this season was nothing like the Cobb Vanth that was in the novel. Okay, nothing at all. You've got all this stuff going on. But what I wanted to say is, these people insisting that they're not retconning anything, they don't even have they don't even have circumstantial evidence. They're just saying it to say it. They're saying it to keep people miserable. They're saying it to keep people angry. They're saying it because they're miserable and they want to stay angry. They don't want to like it anymore. Okay? And they can't see the change is coming because of confirmation bias. But anyway, I gotta go because my husband's home. And I will see you guys around the galaxy. And I just wanted to, I invite Ryan Cannell anytime to come here and explain to me how he can tell what's going on. Because I can't see it. I'll see you around the galaxy, guys. Hello. Bye-bye, guys.